Modern, minimalist and clean. That's what most furniture looks like today. The handle-free furniture trend continues to be as strong as ever. When the design is simple, the functionality of the furniture is all the more important. It's great that you're with us again for this video, coming to you from the Grass Academy. Today is all about the Tipmatic Soft Close unit for our Dynapro undermount slide. Using the model here, we'll take a look at how the slide can be installed without any tools and how to adjust it. This will help us learn and understand the details better. What do we need for installation? Now that we have unpacked the soft close set, we have the installation instructions, the units themselves for both the left and right sides, and the two activators or depth adjusters. This is what we need to mount the whole thing on the Dynapro slide. The big advantage of this system is that it always uses the same unit, regardless of the weight placed on the slide. If we now show you how to mount the unit on the underside in detail, you'll see that it's quite easy. And as I mentioned earlier, it can be done without any tools. On the Tipmatic Soft Close unit, we have a small pin, and on the bottom of the slide, we have several holes. And now, it's important to note that the first hole should be used for nominal lengths of 270 to 320 millimeters, while for anything bigger than 320 millimeters, you use the second hole, i.e. from 350 millimeters. We have a length of 500 millimeters here. That's why we'll use this second larger hole. And the first thing we do is insert the unit with the pin into the unit here. This is what it looks like. And we move forwards a little bit so that the pin is positioned fully in the hole at the front edge. And then we can position the unit here, slightly at an angle. We also have certain punched holes here on the underside. You can see that they also have slotted into the slide and can be pushed downwards. It's best to press down a little with your thumb and then slide it sideways towards the mounting bracket with your other hand. You'll then hear a click and the unit will be firmly connected to the slide. That was the first step. The second step is to completely extend the slide by pulling it open. You can also place the slide on your workbench and then mount the activator. If you're a little unsure whether it is the left or right side, I have a hint to help you here. The letters for left and right are also marked here on the activator. Then we can click the whole thing on the side here. In other words, we extend the slide and can then attach the activator on the side. The activator is then installed. These are the two steps I need to install the unit on the slide. So you can see how simple and easy it is. I don't need any tools. I simply mount the unit on the bottom of the slide and the activator on the side. Now I do the same on the other side. Insert it here on the opposite side. Press the sheet down with your thumb and then click in sideways. Extend the slide. Place the activator on the side and then attach it, so both units are installed. Let's have a look inside the model here, because this is what it looks like when it's installed. We've already installed the unit on the right and left. Of course, in the case of wide draws, it's also very important that we use a synchronization rod. The synchronization rod allows both units to operate simultaneously and thus open the drawer cleanly. Now, let's cut the synchronization rod for this cabinet to length, precisely to the millimeter. For this purpose, it's important to first determine the inside cabinet width. This means that I take my folding rule and measure the inside of the cabinet. This is 562 millimeters. And now, let's take a look at how many millimeters the synchronization rod has to be shortened by. And here, it says 216 millimeters. So, from the installation instructions, the measurement is clear. We can now mark 346 millimeters here. Once it's been marked, the best thing is to cut it off right here with a cutting machine. It is, of course, important to always wear safety goggles. If you use a handsaw, you can do without them. And now, we cut the rod to length. Now, we can place a synchronization rod into our model. As far as the synchronization rod itself is concerned, it is made of an aluminium profile. The big advantage is that we don't need any extra adapters, neither on the left nor the right. This means that I just cut the synchronization rod to the correct dimension, and that's it. All that's left to do is insert it into the unit. The mounting for the synchronization rod is here at the back on the left and right, and it's supported by a spring. If I insert the synchronization rod here sideways, I can push here, and this pushes the spring back. By pushing the spring back, it's possible for me to insert the synchronization rod on the opposite side as well. Thanks to the spring, the synchronization rod then automatically synchronizes itself. This means that I also have a certain amount of play here in order to compensate for possible tolerances. And if this is installed as we see it now, then I can test the system by simply activating the slide on the left or right side by pushing the slide back. And as you can see clearly here, I pressed on the left and the other side of the slide has come out. So we can already see that the system is working. The first test was successful, and as you can see, both slides were triggered. And now we come to a very special point, because we can also adjust the unit to 3 different levels. I'll show you in detail how this works now. We'll close the slide. This is level 1, the normal level. Let's test it again. The slide comes out a certain distance, so we'll make a note of how far the slide came out. In no time at all, I can move the lever from level 1 to level 2. Of course, we do this on both sides. You can see that it's also marked with small dots here, levels 1, 2 and 3, so that I know which position and which level of opening force is currently set. Now, we close the slide again. And now, you can see just how far the slide comes out when it's activated. You have seen that now very, very clearly. The difference between level 1 and level 2 is that the slide comes out almost completely. We'll now set it to level 3. And then you'll see that the slide does not just come out faster, but also much further. Level 3 is suitable for adjusting the level on smaller drawers that are heavily loaded, so that the drawer still comes out reasonably far. And if you want to adapt this to your individual needs in a different way, then you can simply set it back to level 1 or 2 in no time at all. That's how easy it is to fully adjust the opening force, as individual as you like. Now, I have a valuable tip for you, that it will be easier to adjust the opening force using the lever if the system is fully extended. In other words, if the slides are outside and the drawer is completely open. This means that the spring is not under load and the lever can be adjusted very easily. Of course, you can also adjust it when closed when the slides are retracted. Nothing different will happen. you'll simply notice a greater resistance because the spring is under load. So there are two ways to adjust the spring force. Now let's look at the activator, or depth adjuster, which sets the lateral trigger distance between the front panel and the cabinet to 2.5 millimeters. If we can trigger the unit, that means we have already installed the activator here. And if we look closely now, then we can see the two lines that are aligned with each other, one on top of the other. This is how the product is set as standard, with the distance preset to 2.5 millimeters. That means that if you install the unit, it'll work immediately, so you don't have to set the preset first for the system to work. The line now has a big advantage. If I turn the wheel on the underside backwards, then one line moves away from the other. And you immediately have confirmation as to which direction the activator is moving, or that something is moving in the first place. And if I turn the whole thing forwards, then it all adjusts by a maximum of 3 millimeters to the rear. So I can increase the lateral trigger distance by 3 millimeters, but also adjust it forwards by -1 millimeter. And here, you can clearly see how the whole thing has been adjusted. And so I can, of course, adjust the other side to the same extent. And here's another tip. You will have seen that if I want to move the drawer forwards, that is, increase my lateral trigger distance, I must turn this wheel on the side of the activator forwards on both sides. We really thought hard when developing this system to make sure that it's easy and intuitive to use. If we now use a metal drawer, or even a wooden drawer, then it may be that the front panel already has front buffers installed. Please do not use front buffers. If you have a Dynapro slide, you should also check that this depth adjuster is not already installed. There is an optional depth adjuster. You can tell this by checking here. We can see a screw up here, or you can see a screw here. And on the side, there is a green wheel which can be adjusted. And this is an additional depth adjuster. This must also not be installed if you're using the Tipmatic Soft Close system. And the last point is, if you use beautiful wooden drawers that are based on the Dynapro, there are a variety of couplings available. We have a Zamac coupling. This is the example that we're using in practice now. If you're using a 3D coupling, there is no optional depth adjuster, as you have to use it. Then we have the 4D coupling for wooden drawers, where this depth adjuster may already be integrated here on the front locking device. So, on these three variants, you should make sure that they're not mounted on the drawer or on the slide. If you want to use the Tipmatic Soft Close, this is very important. And why is that? It's quite clear. I mentioned earlier that I need a lateral trigger distance of at least 2.5 millimeters to activate the slide and the unit. And you can imagine, if something like this is installed, then the system will not work. We've made a number of useful videos for you on this topic, and I'll provide links to them in the video description below. If you enjoyed the video, it would be great if you could give it a like and subscribe to our channel. And if you have any questions about this or other products, write them in the comments. In the meantime, I wish you plenty of fun and success in implementing your projects.